Welcome back to FBA Gatekeeping Weekly, where we don't let culture vultures slide, we don't let the media rewrite our lineage, and we definitely don't sit quiet while folks try to gaslight us into believing that Black history is just a difference of opinion. This week, we got a lineup. DJ Vlad's running his mouth, NewsOne doing the conflation shuffle, Jubilee playing All Sides Matter with white supremacists, and Trump turning museums into Fox News exhibits, putting Confederate statues back up like it's 1865. Oh, and Cracker Barrel. Yes, Cracker Barrel throwing white conservatives into a full-blown Bud Light meltdown in their mobile trailers. So buckle up, we're about to talk about it. So let's start with DJ Vlad, the same man who built a whole career sitting across from rappers while they trauma dumped for clicks. He just decided to label the FBA movement as racist. According to him, foundational Black Americans are racist for boycotting African hair braiding shops.
First of all, black people can't be racist. That's what you can't be racist.
Black people can be racist.
No, we can't.
Yes.
We can't. How?
They can be bigoted. They can be a bigot. Okay, for example, me and my man here, the cameraman, we're talking before the interview. There's a whole thing right now where they're telling foundational Black Americans, people that were born in America, to boycott African shops on August 1st. This is a thing.
For what, though?
Because they're saying African stores are not Black owned. It's a whole thing right now. I think it's stupid.
First of all,
I think it's stupid.
Let me ask you a question, though. What do Africans sell in their stores?
Well, like hair braiding and stuff like that. Basically, they're calling for a boycott. They're telling Black Americans to boycott African hair shops.
Well, that must be a girl thing.
You don't think that's racist? You don't think that's racist?
Towards each other?
Black Americans being racist towards African Blacks. You don't think that's racist? I think that's racist.
Now, pause. That's not just him talking reckless. That's literally a calculated move. That's an outsider with over 6 million subscribers trying to delegitimize a lineage identity he has no business defining. It's one thing to misunderstand FBA. It's another to step in and swing your little outsider privilege around and try to tell us what we can or can't do or what we can call ourselves. And let's not act like this is new for Vlad. His whole platform was built on glorifying Black criminality. Interviews with rappers fresh out of jail, rappers on their way to jail, grieving mothers, street legends who should have had a therapist and not a camera. And when he misquoted Minister Farrakhan years back, flat out lied on him, he didn't even apologize. He doubled down. Leaders called him out and he shrugged like, oh, well, clicks is clicks. And it took him 5 years to finally apologize.
Yeah, and let me be clear. I'd like to apologize to Minister Farrakhan for misquoting him back in 2020. Period.
So yeah, him calling FBA racist, that's not a mistake. That's literally his brand. Exploit, distort, and then play dumb. And as we all know, it didn't sit well with most FBAs on social media. Of course, the clapbacks was instant.
Yeah, with the Vlad thing. This Vlad thing is kind of bubbling because Vlad did, he was interviewing somebody, and then Vlad brought up foundational Black Americans kind of saying it was racist, something to that effect. So I kind of heard it late last night after I did my main broadcast. And again, Vlad called me the other day, just kind of called me out the blue and with Willie on the phone, and Vlad was kind of explaining. I'm like, oh, what did you say, Vlad? He was like, well, I said some things, and there's a lot of backlash because I said something, and then people don't. So I thought I'd call you. Okay, I'm like, man, what'd you say? You said some bullshit. So he was getting in front of it by calling me, and So I said, okay, look, well, let me see what's going on, and we'll figure something out. Let's see what you didn't say, what you doing. Lord. People are losing their minds out here. People are really losing their minds because we're delineating. People are really losing their minds because, see, that's a power move. I'm telling you, but that's a power move to delineate.
Tariq Nasheed and others checked him quick. Tariq called it just for what it was, Vlad's tendency to overstep boundaries. Vlad tried reaching out to Tariq to clean it up. He invited him to his platform to, discuss. Translation, help me get my credibility back. Tariq took the opportunity to emphasize the importance of respecting distinct Black lineage, FBAs, Caribbeans, Africans, etc., without erasing or flattening them.
What gave you such a negative disposition about what foundational Black Americans mean?
I don't think it was a negative approach to it, it was just an approach of unity as opposed to separation. And I just felt like, as someone who has, half black kids myself, I want them to embrace everybody, and I want everyone to embrace them.
Right.
And I felt that in this particular situation, I was seeing kind of fault on both sides. I wasn't saying, oh, this group is wrong and this group is right. I just felt like a division with two people who, from the outside looking in America, look the same to people, to white people and to the police and so forth, to people who actually have negative intentions. Certain people have negative intentions towards them. And I just felt like when I heard about the whole, the boycotting of the African hair shops, I was just like, I don't know. It just didn't sit right on me.
This isn't just about Vlad. It's about who gets to narrate Black history. Vlad's comments reflect a clear pattern. Non-Black platforms trying to distort the FBA movement. And right on cue, NewsOne jumps in with a whole article painting both FBA and ADOS as misinformation movements. What's their big claim? That lineage advocacy is just sowing division while the real issues are police brutality and voter suppression. They use the backdrop of federal over-policing in Black neighborhoods to imply that FBA and ADOS critiques are distractions from real threats. Sound familiar? The same old tired ass deflection playbook. It painted FBA and ADOS as interchangeable movements, both allegedly spreading misinformation and sowing division within the Black community. And here's what they leave out on purpose. ADOS is actually an organization with leadership structure and chapters. FBA is not an organization. It's not a membership. It's a lineage identification. That's like calling yourself Jamaican or Haitian. You don't sign up. You just are or you aren't. So why lump them together? Easy. If you blur the lines, you can dismiss both. Oh, look, they're chaotic factions fighting each other. That's not worth listening to. That's media narrative warfare. FBA and ADOS are not the same. While they might share some overlap in lineage advocacy, the leadership, strategies, and political goals went in two different directions years ago. Lumping them together erased the distinct ideology and tactical differences, especially around reparation, immigration, and cultural ownership. The article subtly positioned lineage-based movements as fringe or dangerous, while elevating mainstream liberal politics as the rational path forward. So at the end of the day, whether it's Vlad outside the culture or NewsOne doing their best impression on an incompetent Black media from within the culture, the agenda lines up. Erase specificity, flatten identity, and keep control of the narrative. FBA clarity makes folks panic because once you admit lineage exists, you gotta admit reparations are real, immigration accountability is overdue, and cultural ownership is non-negotiable. That's the smoke they don't want. Now let's pivot to Jubilee. Y'all know the YouTube channel with the, middle ground debates. They act like they're building empathy through dialogues, but spoiler, what they're really doing is laundering white propaganda through fake neutrality. This ain't debate. It's performance of civility. It's where white supremacy gets a mic and a suit and gets treated like just another perspective. Jubilee got over 10 million subs, but let's be real, this ain't 10 million Black people. Their bread and butter audience is white liberal coded, but conservative in practice. Folks who love hearing Black trauma as long as it's in bite-sized, digestible debates. In a recent controversial episode, they had a guy straight up call himself a fascist. And, I'm guessing that wasn't bad enough. The rest of the panel applaud him like he just came out the closet, even though it was obvious. He even said he wants Trump as dictator. Jubilee's comment section absolutely freaked out. People saying this is dangerous, cancel Jubilee, and talking about how brave Mehdi Hassan was. And rightfully so, because fascism, in case you need a refresher, it ain't that complicated. It's just white supremacy in a designer jacket. You might have heard some of the fascism greatest hits, like when Mussolini banned Black jazz in Italy because it was allegedly degenerate. Like when Hitler called Black athletes savages, even when Jesse Owens was dragging his Aryan fantasy across the Olympic track. Franco in Spain, he kept his country white, Catholic, and terrified. So those fascists sure had a reputation for being violent crash outs. These are the people he openly identified with. But here's the kicker. He raised over $30,000 off sympathy donations after losing his job. White supremacists are organized, by the way, well-funded, and also watching. And Jubilee didn't expose him, they amplified him.
Let me
me start from the beginning. I tried to get on Jubilee for years.
Yeah.
I signed up for the newsletter. I signed up for the email, whatever. I was always trying to get on there because I was in my debate bag. So I wanted to get out there, see what I can do. They never had me. When you fill out a Jubilee form, they let you link like your social media account. At this point, I had been applying to be on Jubilee since I had like 700K followers on TikTok. We're at this point. They didn't let me on that bitch until last summer. And then I was debating whether or not we should use social media.
Yeah.
Right?
That's all it was. It wasn't no crazy.
So I think afterwards I probably got reached out to be on one of the surrounding things, but I declined because at this point it's like, okay, what the fuck are we doing? And I know that you have to at least have one brief call that you're talking about. I had to get like a connect who like put them on with my stuff, and they're like, oh yeah, you should get him on here. You went in the doldrums and you found Kai Clips.
He has 10K.
I've been on that same program and he said to me, to my face.
That he was going to kill him if he was alone. Do you believe that there was a reason for Rosenbaum to say, and
so
I,
do
quote,
you
me, nigga, to other people in the crowd?
Whoa, okay, hold on.
And you put him there. Y'all know what y'all.
What are we doing? We're losing the fucking plot.
Crazy.
Hey, it was way worse. Scroll down on that picture right there. See what that shirt is? That nigga, that's the white woman who called the black kid the N-word.
Yes. Raised her 700K.
And then he put on a shirt and y'all put him on that show.
And you see the shirt with your own fuck vetting. You're looking at it.
Kai tries to make the argument in the middle of this. He's like, oh, y'all say that you're for free. He makes the free speech paradox thing that I was talking about. Y'all say y'all for free speech, but you just said you wouldn't talk to other bro because he's a fascist. What political statement do I have to respect? What political opinion I have to respect of a nigga wearing a shirt who called a kid the N-word? Let's really put it on paper. What policy positions are we arguing? What political discussion are we arguing? What nuances are we discussing?
That's not, no.
She walked to a park, called someone the N-word, he put on a shirt. What am I nuance discussing with?
Then Jubilee lined up Amanda Seales against about 20 black conservatives. They gave us every brand of tap dancing, self-hating sambos they could find. Black culture is toxic. Reparation is a handout. What about black on black crime? White supremacy isn't real. It was the Africans that sold you. Amanda held her own, even defended FBA lineage politics. But Jubilee's audience didn't really like that. Suddenly, Jubilee's comment section wasn't so anti-white supremacist anymore. They said she was too emotional. People were saying she was too aggressive, and some even said that she made it about race in a debate about race and reparations. So translation to that, you can deny racism all day if you're black, but if you name it, suddenly you're the problem.
Jubilee is an extremely dangerous platform, touting itself as a media company that makes content that helps people see each other as humans, seeking to create content encouraging political discussions across spectrums. According to the owner, the company is politically neutral and hires producers and editors with a variety of viewpoints, which we know kind of is a lie. If this is the case, why have we seen so many far-right, ultra-conservative, racist, anti-black, anti-immigrant, white nationalist rhetoric in the platform and subsequent platforms this year? The most recent episode with Amanda Seales is proof that Jubilee, in fact, isn't neutral and is working to align the viewpoints of Americans into believing black people are whiny, uneducated, violent humans who are underdeserving of a benevolent America. To hear black people say that Harriet Tubman isn't worthy of her accolades because it was really white people, or that white supremacy isn't real, or that black on black crime is real but white violence isn't, or that black people don't deserve any form of reparations like DEI from the very people who are impacted by these things isn't only jarring, it feeds into the stereotypes about black people already pushed out by media and already believed by white nationalists in our country. If there's anything I can't stand, it is the most alarming part were several black immigrants on the platform who spewed anti-black American rhetoric that was socialized to them from their families, all while benefiting from the fight and work of black Americans for them to even be immigrants here in this country. This platform is subtly and slowly pushing the view that America is for white people, and those black people who fall in line and are good Negroes will benefit, ergo the episode came out at a very interesting time, as I've always been vocal about the black experience in America and the ongoing conversations between black Americans, black British, and the diaspora have been in full swing this week. But to hear immigrants and black people alike disparage black Americans in real time, making claims not based in fact, just hate and vibes, is a way to start this week. This is happening at a time where this administration is actively stripping rights away from black people, people of color, and women, rewriting history, whitewashing history, rebranding American history as only patriotic if it paints white people in a good light, and is kidnapping people off the streets and putting them in concentration camps. And your solution is to go online and...
So what's the takeaway from this? White supremacy is tolerated as long as it's polite, aesthetic, and non-threatening. An open Nazi gets a bag, but a black woman spelling out systemic racism, that's divisive. Jubilee ain't neutral. They're stage managing the narrative. And don't think this is just YouTube culture wars. While Amanda was getting tag teamed by black conservatives on Jubilee, Trump was signing executive orders to codify the same gaslighting into law. In March 2025, Trump signed an order to restore truth and sanity to American history. Translation, rewrite history to erase slavery and rebrand oppression as patriotism. He specifically targeted the Smithsonian, saying museums shouldn't be woke or racist. Sir, history isn't racist. History just happened, and you're the one rewriting it.
We want the museums to talk about the history of our country in a fair manner, not in a woke manner or in a racist manner, which is what many of them, not all of them, but many of them are doing. Our museums have an obligation to represent what happened in our country over the years, good and bad, but what happened over the years in an accurate way.
According to an article by MSN, more than 30 objects, including Harriet Tubman's hymnal, have been rotated out of the National Museum of African American History and Culture amid President Trump's executive order targeting divisive racial exhibits. Trump's push to tone down slavery and brighten black history in Smithsonian exhibits is a textbook fascist move. Control the narrative, erase the trauma, and reframe oppression as character building. This isn't just censorship, it's historical sabotage. When the nation's top museum gets bullied into softening the truth, it tells black Americans your pain is negotiable. Now the Smithsonian's exhibits are under review. Slavery, too divisive. Civil rights movements, maybe tone it down. Trump's impeachment, scrubbed. They're literally whitewashing the country's national archives in real time. So no need to wonder, where does Jubilee find 20 black conservatives? And also get this, Trump ordered the reinstallation of Albert Pike's statue in DC that Confederate general protesters tore down in 2020. Yeah, he's back. Pike was a real live evil villain if one ever existed. He literally signed off on expelling freed black people from Arkansas, but now he's being restored as a patriotic figure.
Okay, so this is Albert Pike. He was a Confederate general, and obviously there was a statue made in his likeness. That statue was pulled down in 2020, and now the government wants to put it back up. Side note, the Confederacy only lasted 4 years, and Pike was only a general for 2. That means the Wu-Tang Clan, Star Wars, and Paw Patrol all lasted longer than the Confederacy.
This isn't about honoring history. It's about manufacturing nostalgia. Trump's vision of shared American values excludes black suffering, resistance, and truth. It's the same logic that fuels PragerU's school curriculum, DeSantis' slave learned skills talking points, and the Jubilee crowd's denial of systemic racism. The goal is clear. Make ignorance feel patriotic and make black truth feel radical. When institutions sanitize slavery or erase black resistance, they're not just tweaking facts, they're manufacturing confusion. And that kind of confusion shows up loud and proud in public discourse. My case in point, the Jubilee debate featuring Amanda Seales versus 20 black coonservatives, okay? Seales came with receipts, lineage, and clarity. The others, bootstraps, vibes, and Fox News sound bites. One blamed slavery on Democrats. Another denied white supremacy. The audience applauded. From museums to monuments, from Jubilee debates to school boards, this is a coordinated effort. They want ignorance to be the new patriotism. So let's talk about Cracker Barrel, shall we? Cracker Barrel quietly dropped their old logo, you know, the little white man leaning on a barrel, and switched to something clean and modern, you know, minimalist yellow barrel shape. Sounds harmless, right? Well, not to the MAGA world. Right-wing influencers instantly dubbed it Cracker Barrel's Bud Light moment. Donald Trump chimed in. MAGA podcasters exploded. They claimed it was virtue signaling to people who don't even eat there anyways. The company lost $94 million in stock value in a single day behind this fake outrage. The rebrand follows past controversies, such as the company's promotion of Pride Month in 2023, which also drew backlash from conservatives. The recent logo change has intensified the perception among some that the company is abandoning its traditional roots and core customer base in favor of woke politics. And this has led to the coining of phrases like "make Cracker Barrel great again." Meanwhile, Black Twitter, they're having a ball at their expense. We're over here laughing. Nobody's pressed about Cracker Barrel like that. Folks are joking around. We weren't checking for y'all anyways. Nina Turner also said it best. People can't afford groceries, but conservatives are mad about a logo.
Why am I seeing that Cracker Barrel redid their logo? They took out the barrel and the cracker. I don't know. It shouldn't feel like a safe space. Like every time I went in, breakfast was good, but it's because I had my sausages and my pancakes, and I had a little side of racism with the service.
When we said we wanted racism out of the United States, we were not talking about Cracker Barrel. I just saw Kev on stage video talking about the new logo. What is that? What do you mean the restaurants don't look like a shack? Oh! If I don't walk in there and feel like somebody's about to call me a slur, I'm not in the right place. I'm not in the right place. That's the only place in all of America I want to feel like that. You can change everywhere else. Leave Cracker Barrel alone.
This whole meltdown shows how fragile, nostalgic Americana really is. Cracker Barrel's logo tweak turned into a referendum on whiteness itself. And while conservatives rage about barrels and biscuits, Black America's pointing out the obvious. Y'all fighting over symbols while real issues Black people are concerned about goes untouched. So there you have it. DJ Vlad running narrative scams, NewsOne doing erasure work, Jubilee's laundering white supremacy, Trump reinstalling Confederate statues, and Cracker Barrel proving that even a logo change can spark a civil war in white conservatives' minds. This ain't random, okay? This is all narrative warfare. The fight for who gets to define history, culture, and Blackness itself. And as always, if we don't gatekeep, somebody else will. So this has been the Culture Debrief. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I talk about Black news all the time, so just stick around and support.